Krakow in Poland, different, what a vibe that was. I remember visiting it, and it was around Christmas time, big Christmas market, and you could just tell the people were great, they were warm, and you could tell they're really of the earth. They're like strong, and the history of that country has been so, they've had so many bad things happen to them, and they're doing more than surviving, they're just thriving, and it was great to be there, and Krakow was never bombed or touched like that during the war, so a lot of the older buildings are still there, and close to Krakow is Birkenau, Auschwitz, about an hour away, and the salt mines, they have a salt mine that we visited, so when I was traveling around in Europe before I went to Krakow, everybody told me, when you go to Krakow, you're going to love it. And I was thinking, really? Everybody's saying how great Krakow was. In the States, you never hear anybody say, I can't wait to go to Krakow. But in Europe, they're all saying, they were telling me, you're going to go to Krakow, you're going to love it. I love Krakow. So in Europe, that's a great place to go. So that was my last stop on the little Europe trip that I was on. And it was really, really, really great. And there were a couple things that made it great for me was the fact that I knew the history of how Russia and Germany fought on top of, like, just tore through Poland, and how Poland really, really got treated. They really got banged up. Mix that with how great the people are, and how, the food and the festivals, and you meet someone and give you a big hug, and it's all, and you're just thinking, boy, these are strong people, strong. And but it was definitely not without referencing the history that this country's gone through. So this is Krakow, and it's kind of a mix of a square. They have a big square in Krakow where they have the Christmas market, and that's where we spend a lot of time, because that's the time we went. And this is chapter 13, harmonic synthesis and combining texture. So by the time you get to chapter 13, the last chapter in this book, you're mixing everything together. All these techniques that Persichetti talks about in the previous 12 chapters, now you're mixing them all up, because no one really creates with one technique unless that's what you're trying to do. You learn all these techniques, and then you call on them as you need them to express something. The most important thing is having something to say, so at least you can use all this craft to point to something.